You are listening to Let's Talk Trio on podcasts. Keep up with the latest episodes by downloading the Podbean app or stream episodes via our social media accounts. Search for Let's Talk Trio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This episode is sponsored by Student Access. Student Access, the leader in Trio software. Student Access is an online database solution that allows Trio programs to track their students' information, connect with students by text messages, streamline the APR, and work from anywhere, all online, with automatic updates for changes from the Department of Education. Their technical support team includes former Trio staff and has over 50 years of combined experience working with Trio. Make it easier to focus on your priority, the students. For more information and to request a free demo, visit their website at www.studentaccess.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-801-1232. That website again is www.studentaccess.com or 1-800-801-1232. Be sure to share your favorite episodes on your social media by tapping that share button. This is a great way to support the podcast. Now here's your host, Juan Rivas.
Thank you, Amelia, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, listener, and welcome to a special edition of Let's Talk Trio, where I participated in the ASPIRE Wyoming Colorado Conference 2023. I was invited to record stories from various Trio folks all over the state of Colorado and Wyoming. I got some great stories, some special guests, everyone just kind of sharing their thoughts about Trio programs, some of them sharing their journeys in Trio, and a variety of just a great range of voices and just truly wonderful folks who really care about student success. So coming up in just a bit, you'll hear the sounds of the ASPIRE Wyoming Colorado Conference 2023. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Angelica Villalpando, Rosario Riley, Jaded Electronics, Ryan Barone, Felicia Rivera, and Student Access. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. A special shout out to the Colorado chapter of ASPIRE Board, Rafael Orozco, who is the current Colorado president, Stephanie Cuevas, president-elect, Dariana Roybal, who is the past president, Susana Ruvalcaba, the secretary, Heather Cornell, the treasurer, Miranda Ochoa, support staff officer, Jocelyn Loera Munoz, representative at large, John Wooten, representative at large, Tracy Neve, representative at large, Gerardo Millan, Jr., representative at large. Thank you, Colorado ASPIRE board members, for having the Let's Talk Trio podcast at the conference. We appreciate you, and thank you again for giving us the space to be there. Again, you're going to hear from a variety of folks from the Colorado Wyoming conference, and they're going to be sharing their stories. Some of them are going to be sharing some insights about the conference. So it's going to be a little bit of mix of everything. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this awesome episode. Hi, everyone. So we are here with
Caitlin Luna.
And you're with?
Front Range Community College.
Awesome. Caitlin, so far we are day 2 of the conference at ASPIRE. What's your thoughts, kind of processes? What are you thinking so far?
Yeah, I think it's been really great to connect with other Trio professionals and to remember how broad the field is. You know, talent search, upward bound, so going from middle school all the way up through grad school. Mm-hmm. I come from the Student Support Services program at Front Range Community College.
Right.
And I think just connecting with people doing the work and not feeling as alone or isolated. The keynote just talked about that, being siloed.
Yeah.
And when we're together, it's reinvigorating. It's re-energizing.
I agree. I think Trio programs, we tend to think in siloed terms because we're working with our populations, but being in a conference like this, it seems like we're connecting and figuring out who can we network with to do a warm handoff to our students, right?
Yes, and there's so much knowledge in this space.
Yeah.
And sharing it, being able to share it, is really powerful because people are doing things that I want to go back and bring to my program. And I've been able to share things that people will bring back to their program too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So there's still a full day ahead of us. There's more workshops ahead. Are you looking forward to any of those workshops that you're attending or highlighted in your agenda?
Yes, I actually did. I don't have the agenda right in front of me, but there is one that's really interesting to me. Well, the way I selected was through process of elimination. So which ones could I get information about through my institution or other people that I'm connected with, and which ones could I only get here?
Right.
So there's two that really stuck out. One is actually about when you are a trio professional, what's next? I feel like this type of work, the people in this work have amazing work ethics, amazing skills and strengths, and they're contributing so much to their students and their institution. I feel like it should open a lot of doors, and I'm curious to know what those are and how to translate this experience to other opportunities. So that one really stuck out to me.
Right on, yeah.
And then there was another one, it had the word, so I'm a little confused about one of them. It was about visual something that meets required. Awesome.
I just so happen to have the agenda right here.
That is great. Okay. So the high impact, low effort visual resources that meet TRIO required services.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I think to me sounds innovative.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what's in there.
I'll probably go to that one too.
Yeah.
Any other kind of thoughts as this conference? We're in day 2, obviously. What about thoughts? Were you here for yesterday's?
Yes. Yeah, I was
For
here
day
for
one?
yesterday. For day 1, for the pre-conference. I didn't realize it was a pre-conference.
I didn't realize that either. It was just kind of thought, oh, this is the conference, but it was a pre-conference. What were your thoughts about that?
I thought it was really well done. I mean, I had no clue it was a pre-conference, which to me says that it was done really well.
Integrated, very, very well as a conference.
Are we about ready?
Yes.
You don't make your way to the tables. That would be
I thought it was very helpful to reset the big picture of what TRIO is, what our resources are, because I think that blends really well into today, which is more networking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, then thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you being in the podcast.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. Hi everyone, so I have the team of the Educational Opportunity Centers here from Colorado State University talking about the ASPIRE conference, talking about the things that they've been learning. Y'all, very quick introductions. Say your name and your position with the EOC.
Okay, my name's Juan Valdez, and I'm the assistant director for the EOC, and my primary office is in my office is in Weld County and Greeley.
Wow, all right.
And my name is Alan Frutiaga. I am the program aide there at the Educational Opportunity Center in Weld County.
Awesome.
Hello. This is Tina Placencia, and I am the Educational and Career Planning Specialist for the Educational Opportunity Center in Greeley.
Hi everyone, my name is Connie. I'm Iluhan. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm the director of the Educational Opportunity Center at Colorado State University. We have sites in Weld County, which definitely Juan, Alan, and Tina are representing today. We also have a site here in Lerma County, which is housed on the CSU campus on the southern edge in the Trio House. And then we have an office in Adams County in North Glen, serving the residents of Adams County.
All right, so your outreach really is pretty much, it's pretty wide.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
We joke that we serve the size of Rhode Island.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're almost stay within ourselves.
Amazing. So what do you all think of this conference so far? We're at day 2. We did the pre-conference yesterday. Day 2 is today of the actual conference. Some takeaways.
I really enjoyed it, learning lots of new information, and I was really happy that they brought from COE. Connie knows her name.
Yeah, Brenda Dan Messenger. Yeah.
I know. I was going to say Brenda, yeah, because she really provided some insight, gave me some ideas, thinking of different things that we could do that we haven't done that she used to do back in the day, and just just learned a lot of new information, met new people. This is our first time out, like, to a conference where since COVID, before COVID.
So this must be feeling different for everybody.
Yes. And what I liked, I am liking what they're presenting at the conference, but I really liked what Dr. Carmen Rivera said about interacting with your students, like being a part of them, letting them understand that they are first generation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of students don't realize that when they go to college. They don't label themselves as first generation, and we have to be more mindful of that and leading by example. Absolutely. And so if they see that we're striving to do better, then that gives them encouragement to strive as well. And that was a good way to look at that on a different aspect, because we're so wanting to be like, hey, let's get you in school, but we don't sit back and reflect on what we're doing. So I really like that today.
And we need that sometimes.
Yes,
I think
we need that reminder.
Every once in a while to come to things like this, events like this, because like Tina said, sometimes we're just stuck in our own little silo and we're not even on the campus. And sometimes, like just getting ideas from other people and just reflecting on what we do, taking a back seat and remembering what services you provide and the effects of what we do on our students.
Absolutely.
Same thing to piggyback off of what Tina was saying about what Carmen was saying is how she would always say, still to this day, that she labels herself, or she tells people that she is first generation a student, and I feel like that's very powerful, because at that moment, even if there's strangers around, if they identify as a first generation student, they have an immediate connection to where they could trust that individual, instead of rather than saying you being a first generation, but then not identifying as that. Maybe if you weren't to say that you were first generation, the students wouldn't trust you as much as if you were to tell them that you know where they come from and you've been through their path.
Absolutely. Very good observations.
Yeah, you're so right, Alan. What's exciting about the First Generation Initiative is it started with TRIO. So it's really fun to see in the 80s how several at ASPIRE and with COE decided to coin the phrase First Generation and then create the First Generation Award, and how that's taken off nationally. And it's a national word. Carmen talked about it being really sexy. It's the thing to do right now. And so that's wonderful. And I think you're right. As staff, we need to tell students that we're first gen as well. We've been there, done that. So they trust us. They know that we know, for the most part, what they're going through. So I think that's really crucial, the first generation piece, and to see where it's taken off. And I love what you mentioned, Juan, about what COE is doing, having Brenda here and really talking about the initiatives of looking at, can we provide resources to students regardless of citizenship? I mean, we have laws in our country that we will educate students all the way to 12th grade. No questions asked. Why does that stop after 12th grade? Why does it not continue on with higher ed and within TRIO programs as well? Because we all benefit as a nation. Colorado has a law that supports students who don't have documentation, because we know that it's best for our economy, it's best for our social capital, just everything. It really, really makes a difference. And so it's exciting to see what COE is doing. They've always done a great job of helping us educate and advocate for additional funding, because we need to do more, because we don't serve as many students as we could. It really would be fabulous to do more, but we can't do more with less. We've done that for too long. We need more to continue to do more. I think that's crucial. I think the other thing about conferences like this is just, Juan, what you kind of alluded to about reigniting our passion for what we do. We do get so busy every day with our job that we have to remember the importance of stepping out, getting professional development, reconnecting with people from across the state, and just really supporting each other, sharing ideas. Like Brenda reminded us, some things that were done a long time ago that would work now, and some things that we never tried before. So that's exciting as well. So conferences like this, I think, are really crucial for TRIO professionals. Money well spent.
Absolutely. What is something that you're hoping to learn while you're here? I know that there's some upcoming workshops for day 2. What is something that you're looking forward to?
Well, I don't know if I'll learn more, but in my case, I'm always trying to keep in the conversation the adult student, because that's who we work with. And I think oftentimes schools forget about the adult students and their process and the different barriers they face. And so I try to just get little pieces from people who, if there is other people who work with adult students, of different things we could be doing differently or improving upon, or even giving them some of our ideas that they may not have thought about. So that way our adult students are not forgotten in the conversation and that we're always representing them.
And I think to kind of piggyback what Connie was saying about conferences, it's always good to have that connection, because since we are across the country, our program, and we have adult students that want to venture out of Colorado, we like to have those connections so we can continue with the pipeline, they say. And like we were talking about earlier, like we kind of forget who we are. Well, we know why we're doing this, but we kind of lose sight of who we are and what we're doing. And so I think it's going to be good to be reminded of that, like this afternoon session, when like putting yourself first. I think that's because we always put the student first. And so it's going to be good to like step back and be like, wait a minute, well, I'm a person too. Like, what can I do to be a stronger person and be able to give that to the students that I'm helping?
Yeah. Tina, that's a very important point about really self-care and making sure that you're presenting yourself 100% at work, right? So that's important.
Because we're always just like, okay, what can we do for you? Like, what can
Right.
let's get you from point A to point B. But then we're like, well, wait a minute. Well, what am I doing?
Right? Yeah, because we, work evenings, weekends. When
Right.
the student needs us, we're there. So that putting your oxygen mask on first analogy is so true. We don't take care of ourselves, then we can't take care of anybody else. So I think that's important with the work that we do as TRIO personnel, is finding that harmony. There's never a balance.
Right.
I heard that yesterday about there's not a balance, and I know that, but the word harmony they use was just so much more fitting
Absolutely.
to things. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then what my takeaways from this conference will be most likely the connections that we've made, because I know over COVID, it was a lot of virtual, a lot of Zoom, and there's connection there, but it's not physical in-person connection. So then now when we're coming back to conferences and doing stuff like this, I feel like when you get more along with the person when you physically are there, and you guys can have a memory of saying you guys went to that conference and got professionally developed together and stuff. Because I've gone to a couple conferences, and then I know that now from being here for a while, I see familiar faces, and now it's starting to seem like these faces. Now I know that there's connections that we have a larger connection scale than what I thought.
All right. That's
Yeah, because
awesome.
I thought we were just here in Fort Collins and stuff, and
Yeah.
now I realize that we're regional and statewide. How Tina says nationwide too.
That's amazing. So earlier there was a discussion by the presenter about COE and COE policy. Do you all have any experience attending that seminar?
We do. So I've went a couple times, and I was really glad to hear that Representative, he's no longer our representative, but Ken Buck used to represent our district. Now we have a new representative, which just gives us we need to reach out to her now. But he when we went, both times that we met with him, we had to go out of the way to find him because they weren't able to set up a time. And one time we saw him trying to go to an elevator, and I went up to him and I said, "Oh, we saw you, sir. Just go with us." Brought our student, presented to him before he had to take off. And then another time I saw him walking by, and so it helps to know what they look like, because
That does, yeah.
And then so he started talking to us while we walked with him. And so it was good to learn that he signed on to the letter. What's the letter called?
yeah, the letter that our COA has representatives and senators sign on to support TRIO funding, and just enhancements. We ask every year that they make sure they know about TRIO and what we do, and then that they support increases for TRIO every year.
So he's never signed on to that, and I think he's been a representative at least 10 years. So just I think that constant, learning more about it, hearing about it every year, that we're able to talk to him, and he finally signed on to it this year. So that was really
That's amazing.
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And I think it's always good for everybody to at least go to policy at least one time just to get that experience, because you are the voice you are the voice of the students that you help, whether it's high school or middle school or adults. And so they have to be represented. And the only way to do that is by going to Washington, D.C. and talking to the legislators and putting a face with the name and having them know who you are. And it's really great to sit down, and even if you don't get to talk to the reps, at least you're talking to their assistants, and and your voice is being heard. You only have 2-3 minutes to give your speech, but it's powerful in what you say, and you leave their office with, that you left a mark with them.
Right on.
And so, I mean, and if you didn't love what you do, you wouldn't be in TRIO. And
Right.
we have seen time and time again that TRIO works. And so it's very important that at least everybody goes at least once to experience that.
They just need to add, TRIO works very well.
Right.
Right.
Very
Right.
well. I love that.
Yeah, and he's an additional tagline. That's an excellent one.
And see, we took Alan, I mean, of all of us here, Alan's been the only one who's went as a student. Like, we'll
yeah.
take students, and we took Alan as a student.
So, Alan, you went as a
Yeah.
student. That must have been a great experience for
It
you.
was when I was first starting college, and then I had gotten the position there at the Educational Opportunity Center, and so they had sent me out to advocate, to give kind of a testimony of a story, because before college, I was studying a trade, and from the trade, I was going down a different path. So I never decided college would have been a thing for me, because I was thinking of more work and supporting the family. So then events happened, and so I went in and got into college. And when they decided to send me out into Washington to advocate, at first I didn't know what advocating was, or I didn't know the concept of, advocating on the Hill and how important it was
Right.
to be on the Hill and out there in Washington. But we were going out to go see a lot of senators, right?
Senators and
a lot of
representatives.
Senators and
Okay.
representatives. So
Yeah.
then to tell them about, to showing them an actual person that has been through TRIO and is in TRIO and is a part of the organization, that to have him see that it actually does affect people's lives. So
Amazing.
it was a great experience
Very
that I
cool.
had. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone several times to policy, and it is absolutely the most powerful conference and most educational. It's definitely the conference, like Tina said, everyone in TRIO should at least go once, because it really reshapes, what you believe in, and reaffirms what you believe in, and really helps you realize the power we have to continue what TRIO is all about.
Absolutely.
Well, because, we know COE fights for us on the Hill, but seeing it in person, like it's almost seeing is believing.
Yeah.
When you go to policy, because you're really seeing that they are actually working for TRIO.
And you'll see like Maureen Hoyler and Art Mitchum, and you're just like, whoa, like, you see them. And then you might run into some famous people. I ran into John Lewis and
Oh, nice, really?
Yeah, and I was like, he seems like such a big man. He was a short guy, but it was just amazing. I was like, I couldn't even talk when I saw him. But they're real people, and they're really out there fighting the good fight.
Yes.
When he would say, he told us at the end, what was the saying he uses all the time? Do good. I forgot.
Oh, I the quote that John Lewis that you're going for is the, oh gosh, and I can look it up real quick right here,
Yeah.
too. John Lewis,
But shining your light, or can you remember it as well?
do good. Get in good trouble.
Get in good trouble. That was what
I like
he
that.
said.
I like that.
All right, very quick lightning round, because I know you all need to get back to the conference. What is some advice you would share with a TRIO professional if they're entering TRIO?
They're entering TRIO.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's very important that that you learn, that you have that TRIO heart for the position, as they say, because, you might start and maybe they don't have that, and I would encourage them, then you can always look for someone else. At least you tried it out, but it's really important that they have that, because it's hard to explain, but you're gonna be fighting for the students, and you're gonna to me, like, I get up every day, go to work. It doesn't feel like work to me. I'm going to work, I know, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I love everything that we do and the students, how we can affect them. But that you're gonna be fighting for the students. So it's like you really have to have some. It has to be. It becomes part of you really, and so it's important that you have that part. That you. That's what we call it. We call it the trio heart. It's hard to explain, but you know when you got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you have to just have some time. You have to connect with the student.
Connect with the
because it's not a one size fits all, and we have to be mindful of that. That every student has different needs, and we have to be able to connect with them, and they have to have trust in us to know that we're going to get them from point A to point B, because they're first generation. They have no idea what they're doing, and so we have to be able to establish those relationships with them and feel their pain and their frustration, because we've been there, and we have to remember that we were also students. And so we have to remember that, okay, it's okay to fall. We're going to get you back up. We're going to get you going again.
Yeah, definitely connection with students, and definitely connection with your colleagues. Because with the colleagues, if you don't know a question to anything or an answer to a question, then you could always know who to go to and ask.
Yeah, everything you three said, I have to say ditto. Because it's not only hard work, it's also heart work. We talk about that all the time, that this is work you do from your heart, and you can't do it alone. So the great thing about the trio profession is that everybody is just so wonderful and supportive. It's like a family. We really are there for each other. So really making sure you take advantage of that family, do trainings, lean on each other, just like you three said. I have to agree. This is a great job, and I'm with you, Juan. I get up every day and think, wow, this is amazing. I get paid to do this. This is fabulous.
Wonderful.
It's like a dream.
Well, Connie, Tina, Alan, Juan, thank you all so much from the Educational Opportunity Centers at Colorado State University. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Go EOC!
So the session that I attended yesterday, led by Yulisa and Mayra, was really incredible. I got so many resources to assist students who are undocumented, and with the potential inclusion of undocumented students with our trio grants, it felt very energizing and invigorating. And additionally, I went to the session with Dr. Juan Rivas regarding ways to continue growing professionally, and there were so many incredible trio professionals who are doing so many exciting things. And that was one of them is doing a power building coaching certificate, and then everyone in the room was like, dang, I want to do that. And so that was really inspirational as well, and also all of the speakers have been sensational. Just really incredible professionals. Wow.
Final question for you. So what is some advice that you would offer to a trio professional that may be first year in or thinking about starting a career in trio?
Yeah, so this is actually my 3rd month with the trio program.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. So I would say that, as my boss told me, take your time. Don't try and learn everything at once.
Okay.
Give yourself a little bit of space for learning, and then when you come to these conferences, give yourself some freedom, take your notes. In a session where you feel a little overwhelmed, sit back, maybe ask for some help from people in the room, being like, what did you get out of that? This is where I'm at. I think that is super helpful to give yourself some grace. You're learning so much. Right. Yeah. But also, welcome to the trio family. It's so exciting, and I feel that's also for me too. Yes, trio works.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that fantastic interview. That was great.
Wonderful.
I am here with Jason, who is with the CSU Pueblo Community College.
Yes, Pueblo
That is my
Community
mistake.
College.
I'm sorry. And you also have a podcast, which is also interesting. You have students also studying podcasts or doing podcasts?
Yeah, we built a podcast room for our students. At any given time, we had at least 2 student-run podcasts up until recently, but there's one that's kind of getting ready to get off the ground.
Right on. That's awesome.
But yeah, no, our director runs one. It's Director's Cut. You can find them on Spotify. All of our student stuff, we used Anchor as our hosting. So,
that's cool. Yeah.
So it just spits it out to Spotify, and I'm not sure where else. The only place I know we're not is Apple.
Oh, Apple Podcasts, yeah.
Yeah, it's not on iTunes or anything because, the whole signing in with your Apple ID. But no, it's all out there on Spotify. So we've got Trash Talk was one of ours.
Oh.
So we also, one of the things we don't do is like dictate what their podcast is. We kind of give them that creative freedom.
That's
so
awesome. Yeah.
Trash Talk was one. When they started it, they were freshmen, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was their cousins, so like they already had the rapport.
Yeah.
And all they did was trash talk. They pick a category in trash. Food was one. They started dogging on pizza, and I was like, time out. Like, pizza? Come on. Spinach, maybe, but pizza? So we had Trash Talk. We had Tea for Two, which was 2 friends.
Yeah.
Where they just picked like a topic of the day and just kind of talked about that. What else did we have? Oh, we had Killing It. So it was 3 students that were interested in serial killers.
Oh, wow. So kind of the serial killer podcast that we see out there, yeah.
Yeah. So they would talk about a particular serial killer and all that.
Yeah.
Man, there's one, I can never remember the name of it, but it's similar to the T for Two where they just had I can't remember the name of it, man. But they would it was like a random topic and they would just go.
Right.
And I know I'm forgetting one, if not 2 others, but it's been a minute. I've been working on my master's, so I haven't been as focused on that, which is like my bad, but they know where the equipment is and they know how to use it.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't very hands-on in the beginning. It was like, I teach them how to do everything and all that, but now they can run.
Awesome.
And they've chose not to run. So,
Jason, and what trio program are you with?
I'm with Traditional Upward Bound at Public Community College.
That is amazing. Awesome.
Yep.
What have you enjoyed learning here about the ASPIRE conference?
At the ASPIRE conference, it's just been nice to be around other professionals. I got to present, so I've only been in trio for 3 years, so I got to present, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and of course, like sharing, getting to do this and sharing with you is awesome. I'm hoping you can make it to PCC sometime and check out our little facility,
That would be amazing. What has been a session that really stood out to you?
That really stood out to me? I liked the one with Aaron yesterday, talking about taking a break, like keeping your cup full.
Yeah.
Because we tend to always empty our cup with our students and how to keep your cup full. I also went to the presentation on this, I don't remember what her program is. It's with Student Lingo.
Oh yeah, Student Lingo. Yeah.
And we're able to get some resources for our tutors that I think they need, or we think they need. Yeah. So being able to go back and provide that to them, which will just do nothing but enhance our kids' experience with our tutors, is awesome.
Wonderful. Final question for you. If there's a professional that's thinking about entering the world of trio, or a first-year trio professional, what's some advice you would share with them?
Go hard.
Oh, I like that.
Soak it in, as much as you can. Do as much as you can, because I think there's a tendency in trio where you're going to burn out a little bit. Mm-hmm. So before you hit that burnout, go hard.
All right.
I haven't hit it yet, so I'm still going hard. 3 years. I don't know. I just always like to go a little bit extra than what we do. Whether it's an extra workshop or an extra event, just one more opportunity could be that one that breaks through to that one kid. Absolutely. And then it's all worth it, right?
Wonderful. Well, Jason, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. That was great interview.
Cool.
You done?
You're in the hot seat. Yeah, I'm done.
Stopping into the podcast right now. If you could please introduce yourself.
Okay, so I am Jesus Rios.
Jesus, welcome to the podcast, man.
Man, thank you.
So talk a little bit about the trio program you serve and the WYCO conference, what you think so far.
So it's great to be here. I serve Veterans Upward Bound. I'm part of...
Veterans Upward Bound.
Yes.
That's awesome. Finally, I have my first Veterans Upward Bound person here. Yeah,
that's
awesome.
great. That's great. We serve El Paso County and Pueblo County.
Amazing.
So
great.
We're down in the south end.
Okay.
Which is, great. It's great to serve veterans. I'm a veteran myself, so...
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I did 4 years in the Navy. So I was assigned to a USS Saipan, which is a amphibious assault ship. It's now decommissioned.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere, I think maybe in the middle of the sea, or maybe cut up in pieces. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're still going. It's recording.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still going.
Oh,
We're still
okay.
going.
All right.
So give us your impression about the WYCO conference, what you've enjoyed so far, a session that stood out to you.
Well, it's great to connect with other people. It's great to network.
Good morning, everyone.
Get to
We're
know
going to call
what
this
other
meeting
programs
to
are doing.
order at 10:14.
And as far as
And we'll
other upper
begin with
bounds
roll call.
and just seeing people and seeing how they do the recruiting and how and getting little
Cuevas,
tips and all that. So
Dariana Roybal,
I'll pause and we can pick up.
Susana Ruvalcaba here, Heather Cornell.
All right, so we can pick up right where we left off.
okay, cool.
The mic is hot, so
All right.
where did we leave off?
I don't recall.
So we were just in the state meeting.
Yeah, the state meeting. So that's where we're, and we decided to come into this quiet room and so finished up this interview.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've started as a Veterans Upward Bound as a student over at Pueblo Community College.
Wow.
Yeah, so I signed up, and before I entered, I don't even recall the year, what year it was. It was like 2012, 2011, I believe, on top of my head. And so I started at PCC, and I worked my way to Trio SSS.
Wow.
I was doing stuff on my own, thinking, hey, I could do this on my own, and not getting properly advised or being my own advisor, you know.
Right.
And so I was like, well, there has to be a better way of doing this. So that's when I ran into Andrea Martinez, which she's the director of Trio SSS over at Pueblo Community College, and she's like, hey, why don't you just sign up for our program?
Yeah.
And we could advise you. We could, do everything that you need help with, and just come to our 2 workshops every semester. And I was like, great, that's fine. So I got great advice from the Trio SSS, and from there I graduated my general studies associates and transferred over to CSU Pueblo. And by then I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a social worker and had to start with the lower classes, and I got transferred. There was a nice warm handoff from Trio Pueblo Community College over to CSU Pueblo, which made it great because it was a nice warm handoff, and I wasn't lost, or at least felt like as lost.
Right.
Being from one campus to a different campus can be a hard transition. So that was an easy transition, and then our director, at the time I was working 40 hours, going to school full time, and so I was like, okay, well, something has to give. And from the time I started school, my director, Jacobo Valeria, was trying to get me to work for him as a VA work studies. And I was like, no, I got my job, I got my kids, I have to, provide for. And until one day I was like, you know what, I got to focus on my schooling because my grades weren't that, the top. And I was like, so I'd rather make it a full-time job. VA's paying for it, providing the tuition. They're paying for everything that I have to go through. My books were being paid for. My tuition was being paid for. So I was like, well, okay, this is my opportunity.
Right.
I want to finish strong. So I finished, I did the best that I could. And once I finished up back in the fall of 2021. COVID didn't really kind of help
No, and it didn't, right? It
And-
kind of
and
shut everybody down.
It shut everybody down. So I was like, okay. And I know myself, and I'm not the online learner, but if I have to, I'll do it. But I prefer to be in class, be interacting with other students and other vets. So I graduated in 2021, and I went from working as a work studies and then transitioned as a site coordinator, and I've been a site coordinator since site coordinator. And then there was a summer where I was a non-student worker because it was COVID and in between. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I gotta, gotta make a living some way. So
Right, absolutely.
But it's amazing to help out other students, other vets, and you sometimes, at times, you run into students that like. You could tell they're lost.
No, yeah.
And you're like, hey, how can I help you? You're like, how can I help you?
Right.
And they have that stare like, wow, okay. And, well, let me take you over there.
Yeah.
Instead of giving them, hey, here's the map, circle it. No, like, walk them over there. Walk them to the class.
Certainly.
And it's one of those things that I could read a map. I could do this and that and be like, 2 lefts at this, you see that tree, and it's like, no, let's take them over there and do a warm handoff and be like, hey, this is your class, or this is a person you need to talk to.
Yeah.
Here you go.
That makes a whole difference, right? Like having to guide students to the source and say, this is who we need to connect with, because that makes them a little bit more comfortable and more likely to outreach to that resource.
It is, and then building those relationships with that resource. It's like, hey, I brought you someone that needs a help. Can you help them out? Yeah. And it's like, you're connecting, and you're just connecting them, and then like, it's a great feeling too. It's like, okay,
absolutely.
Instead of like, hey, did you get like, kind of when I was at times at PCC, hey, I don't know where this classroom's at, or who do I talk to, or like,
right.
Truthfully, my first time going to school was back in 2004.
Wow.
And when I got out of the military, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. This is the reason why I joined the military, to utilize my GI Bill and to go to school. And I got out of the military in 2004, and I had to fly back to get my DD-214 because the whole process, hey, you need a DD-214, you need this paperwork. Well, I had to fly back to Norfolk, Virginia, and bring it back to California.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was a student for Fulton College for about 3-4 months, but I just didn't feel, wasn't the right time for me.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And so between that time, I got a call, and I worked overseas. I lived overseas for about 3.5 years, working for a military contractor. So I was like, okay, I'll do this for a little bit, and then my family got married, and created a family. My kids, I love my kids, so it's great. It's great. And, being first generation is I'm the first to graduate for my family with a bachelor's. Now I'm working on my master's too as well in social work. So
amazing.
And trying to encourage my sisters to go back to school. And I know one of them is gone, and she's working on her the nursing program right now out in California. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just, hey, come on, I know you could do it. Like, I know you could do it. It's like, to one of my sisters works as a educator, teacher's aide. So she works at the educational side. So so she. If I have questions on how to talk to high school students and elementary students, because I'm not an expert on and she has years and years. Hey, how do you, I ask her for guidance on that.
That's awesome.
Because she's the one to go to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you've learned a lot at this, also at this ASPIRE conference. You've shared a bit of your trio story. What is some advice that you would share with a person that's looking to break into trio or looking into becoming a trio professional?
Being part of just asking questions and having the heart. It's all about the heart.
Yeah, talk to us about that.
The heart. You have to have the heart to want to help other people. Pay's not, there's only a certain amount of pay. So you got to have the heart.
Sure.
The heart.
Sure.
and want to help these students. You know, me personally, I was in their position at one time. So this is way of me giving back too.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to help out. I'm going to give back. You know? So that's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
And that's another way of looking at it too, is helping. You were once a college student. You know, did we struggle? Did we,
Yeah.
Do we know where the financial... This is a big campus here at CSU.
Right. Yeah.
Compared to CSU Pueblo, I would be lost here. I'd be like, yeah. So it's great to just go to the office, the TRIO office, and they could help you out.
Right.
And I hear amazing stories from your guys' team too here on CSU.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
CSU Pueblo or CSU for Collins. So it's amazing that we could all partner up and be like, hey, what are you guys doing over here that we could,
Absolutely.
So it's great to hear. And this is a big, amazing campus.
It really is. It's huge.
It's huge. I'm like, okay, way, way bigger than CSU Pueblo, but hey, it's a beautiful campus. I know I've talked to formal students here, and they're part of the TRIO program, and they're like, well, that wasn't here when I came to school here, and this wasn't here. This is new. So it's amazing that they're starting to, everything's coming new. I see the softball field from here, and we're inside the football stadium.
Yeah, we're here located at the Canvas Stadium where CSU plays football, and right now we have a great view, right, of the mountain range a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, and then you got the football players, practicing down at the practice field. So
yeah.
you know how it's amazing. It's amazing. The football field looks amazing from up here too.
Oh, it does, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
I was thinking of buying a ticket, then I saw the ticket prices. I was like, okay, maybe a couple of savings we'll have to do before I do.
You could team up with a group.
Oh, that's true.
Hey, you go this game, I go this game.
That's so true.
Split up the cost, savings. It's all about savings.
Absolutely.
So, hey, get a group of people and be like, hey, we'll get 4. You go this game, I go this game, and split up the cost.
Exactly.
It equals out to going to one game, but at least, season ticket holder.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right, so final question for you.
Okay.
How does it feel to be a TRIO student alum now going back and giving back to the students that you serve?
Feels great. It feels great. I see myself being a mentor and guiding our students, our veterans, our students. Over at Public Community College, we have a lounge, which I integrated the students in the military, our veterans and military.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know that a lot of former veterans that have come through a college system often feel displaced or they don't feel connected with the campus. What are y'all doing that helps them feel a little bit more connected?
Well, what I'm doing with that lounge is making sure they connect.
Yeah.
Some of our vets may have issues with computers or they're not good at computers.
Okay.
And some of our younger students, we'll teach them how to log in, how to,
Oh, that's amazing.
And we do that too as well. But it's the communication part.
Yeah, it really is.
Our veterans have a lot to tell and learn from their experience. And our younger students still, there's still growth there to, grow in their life experience. And they learn from each other.
Yeah.
And so that's a perfect way for us to, I combine the lounge together. So it's amazing. It's great to see them chit-chatting and in the lounge. And it's like, okay, all right, well, guys, I'll be in my office. If you guys need anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be in my office.
Yeah.
And just stay, I got to catch up on some work or I'll be doing an interview with one of our vets.
Yeah.
So, and then we do tours there for our vets too and show them around campus and what classroom or whatever program they're interested in our campus, we'll go. I built this relationship with the campus and take them directly to the director or one of the professors or whoever's going to. Now, our medical field is off campus. It's over at St. Mary Corman, so we do have to do a drive if they're interested, but that's okay. At least they have where it's at, Same with CSU Pueblo. I'm alumni there as a student, as a TRIO. So we do that over there too as well.
Wow,
So,
amazing.
yeah.
All right, Jesus, where can people find your information if they wanted to apply to be a part of your program?
So you could find our information on Colorado.com. We just changed our program, our website, so we just did the .com.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. Jesus, it was great having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Good episode, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Good.
Yeah,
That was really good.
I hope I gave you the right one.
Oh, yeah, you know. Hello, everyone. So we are here with Ames Community College, the Trio Student Support Services Program. I'm going to go ahead and allow you all to introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started.
I'm Bernadette Cordova, and I'm the director of Trio, both Classic SSS and STEM SSS.
And I'm Trish Ravino, and I'm the Trio SSS Classic Academic Advisor at Ames.
And my name is Alicia Nava Ortiz, and I'm an academic advisor with Trio, and I work both with the SSS and STEM program.
Hello, my name is Arizbi Soto Ramirez, and I am the STEM academic advisor for our Trio SSS program.
Awesome. Well, thank you all, and welcome to the podcast. This is day 3 of the conference. It's already wrapping up. What was your takeaway? What are some things that you've learned?
I think for me, it's helped me come out of my shell a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Also networking and just seeing how other programs work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very grateful that obviously I attended the conference and then we were able to present as a team.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
To see just to give other resources to other programs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say my biggest takeaway was that I need to get involved in advocacy for the Trio programs in some way, and so I loved learning more about what previous TRIO professionals have done or ASPIRE members have done to advocate for these programs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway that I love at conferences anyway is the networking opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've been in this pandemic for a long time. We're finally in person for the bigger conferences, and to be able to see people face to face and sit with them and talk with them and get that networking going again is amazing. So that's my favorite part of this.
Wonderful. Being back in person.
Being back in person.
I kind of copy a little bit of everything. I really like the sessions, like yesterday, talking about positive work cultures that we definitely have at Ames, and also realizing that we are really lucky about our institution itself. But it's nice to share those things or kind of tips and tricks of TRIO within other TRIO programs. And definitely the networking, just kind of building that family. Like we already have that foundation in our own school.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of building that across other campuses and just kind of just a greater force, I think. So yeah, awesome.
Awesome. What is some advice that you would give to a first-time professional, someone that might be thinking about entering the world of TRIO?
I would say, make sure that you are not afraid to start asking other TRIO programs for help.
Okay.
Ask around. There's so much knowledge to be shared. That's kind of, I think, one of the beautiful things about the TRIO programs is that everybody shares and connects and will show you how to do things. And so I would say just get to know your other programs that are around.
Is it very easy to feel like isolated or siloed when you start a program?
I would think so, yes. Especially if you're the only one doing that sort of program, right? The rest of the institution is kind of taking your lead. Like they'll follow your lead to and answer questions if you have it, but they're not going to know what to ask, right? So TRIO program, as much as I try not to keep it siloed, sometimes we are isolated because we are so unique, because we have to work with the grant. So we have to rely on outside the institution with other TRIO programs, right? And so I think that, I don't know if I actually answer, or I'm following what you were saying,
Yeah,
Trish.
no, I
but,
agree with what you said.
But Trish is right. Rely on other programs outside of your own institution because they know what they're talking about. TRIO's been around for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
So really start talking to other people and getting new ideas. And, it's amazing the knowledge that's out there and the expertise that's out there. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
I think the other part for me, maybe because I am one of the newer TRIO advisors, now hitting a year, I think just knowing, obviously, and I've heard this a lot in the conference this week, of we're here for our students, we build those relationships. There are going to be some students that don't come around, but then the ones that are in your space and in your office and come to the programming, you give it your all every day for every student, and you just kind of walk away proud of knowing that, hey, even if you made a difference in one student's life, or even if they have one takeaway, that you've kind of done your work. So you just continue to do the work every day. Yeah.
Anybody else want to jump in on that one?
I think for me, it's just don't be afraid to get out there and get to know other people, obviously within other TRIO programs, but also within your institution as well, because those are the people that are going to be supporting you and that are your resources as well.
That's true.
You have to rely on, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
You have to rely on the institution for sure, because they're the ones who are providing, your space and providing overhead and, all that. But they also care about students as well.
Yeah.
So they want to know how they can help, and that's where we all go out and we just do what we have to do to make sure the rest of the institution gets to know our program, gets to know our students, so that we can do this together.
Awesome. Final question for you all. What inspired you to work for TRIO?
For me, that was easy. I was already TRIO alum at Ames. The good connection. I feel like every department that I've worked in at Ames has been great. So it's also just, right, like I just kind of felt like I'm just going into another new family. But again, just giving back to the community, giving back to the students, offering students maybe what I was lacking as a student. So that for me has always been like number one. Like, yes, the students are there, but it's like, what did I maybe miss out on that I could give to students, and that way they can be successful as well. So yeah, so that was number one.
I think for me, because I'm also a trio alum too, but at UNC, so go Bears. But like what they provided for me, have to give a shout out to Seferino, because he kind of gave me like the insight, because I did not know what I wanted to do, and I loved how he would help me with everything I needed. Like if I say I need to see you tomorrow at this time, he was there, answering all my questions, and I literally told him that I want to do what you do. And he told me, obviously what I'm in is an advisor. So I was just like, get connected, find somewhere where you want to do advising. And honestly, he helped me get connected with the dream team, helped me put a letter of recommendation for me. And that's where I started my internship. So I give a lot of thanks to him, because he kind of helped me grow that idea of wanting to become an advisor. And I was lucky enough to be an advisor with Trio at Ames.
Right on. Amazing.
So this is the truth.
All right, give us the truth. Give us the tea.
I worked at Colorado State University for, it was like 11 years in admissions. Not the entire time, but when I applied for the position in Trio at Ames, I had no idea what Trio was.
Okay.
So that goes to show how isolated Trio can be, because I worked at CSU for a long time and I didn't even know what it was. So, it turns out I was handling McNair applications. So,
oh wow.
Then when I heard about McNair after I got into Trio, then I was like, oh,
gotcha.
So now I know what it is. So, I didn't know what it was, but I think it was an absolute gift to land in this spot, and I love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to work in Trio for many, many years. I just finally got here, and I'm a Trio alum too, UNC, go Bears. And with the CHE program at UNC, I was involved with them in the Women's Resource Center, which is not called that anymore, so sorry. But they got me connected to a lot of people who worked in Trio. So for years after I graduated with my master's, which, by the way, I'm a non-traditional student, and I mean very non-traditional. And so it took me a long time, but that was my main goal, was to get into Trio.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's my calling.
Yeah. So Ames Trio Student Support Services, thank you all so much for being on the podcast. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
And definitely I want to link up with you all in the summer to come over and do a profile for all of you. So that would be great.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're all done. Thank you.
Are you a participant, alum, or staff of a Trio program? Do you want your program highlighted? You or your program could be featured in an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Trio. Get a hold of us by going to our Facebook page or Instagram and send us a direct message. Search for Let's Talk Trio. We want to get your story to the public.
You just heard from the ASPIRE WYCO conference attendees. I want to thank every single one of you for stopping by the podcast and sharing your thoughts, your stories, and just your experience, and for encouraging future Trio folks and for giving advice to current Trio folks. Your information, your insights are truly wonderfully valid and valued. A huge thank you to our sponsors of the podcast. I'd like to thank Rosario Riley, Angelica Villalpando, Jaded Electronics, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Ryan Barone, and Student Access. This episode was also underwritten by TrioJoblist.com. You too can be a sponsor of the Let's Talk Trio podcast. Head on over to Patreon, select one of 4 membership levels. You can sponsor this podcast for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month goes a long way in supporting this podcast. If you own a business and would like to advertise on this podcast, send us a message at letstalktrio@gmail.com. You can find that option for sponsorship on Patreon. It is our 5th level. That is reserved for businesses only. For $100 a month, you can place your ad on this podcast. What we will do is we will publish episodes every single month. For every episode that we publish in that month, your ad will be placed for the month that you sponsor. Some of the frequently asked questions that I get is, how do I get on the Let's Talk Trio podcast? You can nominate a person by heading over to our email. Email us at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. You can nominate an individual to be on the podcast. Remember, they have to be a Trio alum, current student, staff, advocate. Reach out to us so we can get you on the schedule. I'd like to take a moment to thank our honorary members of the Let's Talk Trio podcast, Roderick Chambers, Tony Ho, Scott Kendall, and Susan Cramp. The Let's Talk Trio podcast team is John Russell, audio engineer, music producer and composer, post-production editor. Amelia Castañeda, script supervisor, marketing manager, social media manager, and producer. Juan Rivas, executive producer and host. This episode was recorded over a period of days, April 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2023. Remember to always exercise your right to vote. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode.